What's up, everybody, and welcome to Plant Strong Live. That man right there is New York Times best-selling author and founder of Plant Strong, Rip Esselstyn. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing fine. I'm in Austin, Texas. I'm not, in Florida like you. I'm not underwater. My roof hasn't been blown off. Haven't been decimated. So we're all good. But I'm sorry about what's happened to all of you guys.
Hey, our hearts go out to you, Florida. I am in Florida. I don't expect many of you to have my background memorized, but typically I am in another room and I am had to relocate just because my roof was, caving in with water. So we got it all fixed. We are good to go because the truth is the Plant Strong lifestyle, that train can't stop. We got to keep going. We got to help all you guys. So we're here. We're ready to go. Let us know where you're watching from, guys. We are tuning in from around the world, and we got 50 people right off the top of the show. So let us know where you're watching from. If you're in Florida, let us know how you're doing. Hopefully you're safe and well. And I hope that this show gives you just a couple minutes of a break from real life. And we can talk about some stuff that's going to help you in the future when you're able to get back to the grocery store, maybe restock your pantry and get back to your Plant Strong lifestyle. But there's a lot of things you can do along the way. And we're excited. We're excited. What are we talking about today, Rip?
Well, we're going to be talking about how to eat more and weigh less. And I'm looking at the comments right now. And as blind guy, his wife, and their life said, eating more and weighing less are life goals. And you know what? They truly are. And it's very, very achievable. And we're going to talk about that today. 2 weeks ago, we talked about protein and how none of us have to worry about running into protein deficiency, because it truly is. It's a boogeyman. It's a boogie woman. It does not exist in this country, where as long as we're getting enough calories, we're then by default getting enough protein, right? Last week we talked about fiber and how if there's one thing that Americans are deficient in, it is fiber. Because really, when you look at if you look at how Americans eat, this is going to be shocking. 94% of Americans' caloric consumption comes from foods that do not have fiber. 94%.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And so this is why I love the term plant strong. It's like we got to go from being plant weak to being plant strong. And so let's shift that pendulum, so that instead of 4% of 6% of our calories coming from whole food, plant-based foods, let's have it be 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Let's reverse what it currently is.
Yeah. And
then we're all gonna hit it out of the park. And as blind man and his blind guy, his wife, and their life, we can achieve, really, I don't say this lightly, effortless weight loss without starving ourselves, without counting calories, without doing any of the things that we have been led to believe are necessary if we want to lose weight. And I had a really, remarkable pediatrician on the Plant Strong podcast yesterday. It's not going to air for a couple of weeks, but we did the interview, Dr. Yami. And she was, she sees kids that have been put on diets at the age of 4, 5, and 6 in this country, right? She herself went on a diet when she was 8 and 9. And she said the amount of self-loathing that she felt for herself and body image issues that are present in our culture today are just kind of overwhelming, Corey. And unfortunately, the way we as human beings are hardwired, the way our brains are hardwired to our stomachs, and then our stomachs, the way our stomachs are as far as the stretch receptors in there and the density receptors and the nutrient receptors, it's almost virtually impossible for you to be an American and be living your life in this culture, in this society, where 94% of what we consume is coming from meat, dairy, and ultra-processed foods, and not be overweight. And that is why we truly believe that the only solution is to exercise more and to starve ourselves, push the plate away from the table before we're even close to being full. And this is a riddle that we're going to solve today. Because what's currently going on, it's like a dog chasing its tail. Yeah. And nothing about what we are currently doing is sustainable long-term. Yeah, you might be able to lose some weight, short-term, but long-term, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, first, let me just say, Corey, how much I appreciate, again, everybody like taking 30 minutes out of your Friday afternoon to join us on this Facebook Live. I really appreciate all of you for just, for wanting more, to up your game and be the best version of yourself, right? I mean, that is so darn fantastic and cool. So kudos to all of you. So I wrote this book, Corey, in 2000. It came out in January of 2017. And I basically have 7 pillars that I tell people, if you follow these 7 pillars, you are going to be on your way to, really being bulletproof to chronic Western disease, to being able to achieve kind of your ideal weight and all the things that we want when it comes to health and weight loss. And it's pillar number 4 that I want to dive into today, it's around calorie density. And calorie density, for many of you, it doesn't mean much, but what we're talking about is how many calories. And I want you to know that when we're ideally eating whole food plant-based, we don't count calories. We don't worry about grams of fat and protein and, carbohydrates. That all goes by the wayside. But hang with me here, because it's important that we kind of identify what some of these terms are. So calorie density is how many calories are in a given amount of food. And so just for intensive purposes here today, we're going to use a pound. A pound of food equals X number of calories.
Okay.
And there is I want to share a couple people that have done extensive research in helping us here. One is Barbara Rolls out of Penn State University, and Dr. Barbara Rolls. And she has written a number of different books called volumetrics. And it's how we as human beings were hardwired to consume a certain volume of food every single day. And she has probably done more research than any other human being on the planet with this. And the answer is we need to feel like we've gotten enough oxygen out of the air, right? To get enough out of our food, we want to consume between 3 to 5 pounds of food a day. And for, people that are training a lot, it's, you're going to probably want more than that, but 3 to 5 pounds for our brains and our stomachs to be happy. Now, the problem is when we're eating foods that are calorie rich and nutrient light, you're not going to feel satisfied until you've eaten way more than 3 to 5 pounds of food. That's just the way it is. Wow. And I'm going to give you all kinds of fantastic examples here so you can see it with your own eyes what we're talking about. There's another gentleman out of Hawaii named Terry Shintahi, and he wrote a book called The Hawaii Diet. And he wants everybody to be happy, supremely happy with how they eat. And so he is so against counting calories, starvation, all these things that we think of when we think of dieting. And so he came up with this index called the Eat More Index. And he has assigned just about every food that you can think of a value based upon how many pounds of that food would you have to eat to get to 2,500 calories, which is roughly, the RDA, the recommended daily allowance when it comes to calories per day. And you're not going to believe what I'm going to show you here pretty soon. But suffice it to say, when you're eating fruits and vegetables and whole grains and beans that are all 600 calories a pound and less, you can eat copious amounts of food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and never have to basically starve yourself. However, when you're eating foods like animal products, refined and processed grains, butter, ice cream, nuts and seeds, oils, fried chips, cookies, things of this nature, cheese that are all 1,200 to 4,000 calories per pound. Think about it. If I was to have just 3 pounds of something that's 1,500 calories, Corey, I want you to help me with the math here. How many calories have I just consumed? 3 pounds, and the average calorie density of, let's say, the cheese and the burger and the bread and the ice cream for dessert and everything is 1,500 calories. How many calories have I just consumed?
You're 3X in that?
Yeah.
So that's 4,500 calories. 4,500.
Thank you. So, and what do we know is the recommended daily allowance? It's right around 2,000 to 2,500. So we're so again, according to Dr. Barbara Rolls and her research, we're at the low end of what we need to satiate, to have our brains and our stomachs and everything feel happy. We're at 3 pounds and we're already almost 2X what we should be when it comes to calories. So we're at the high end of calories and we're at the low end. Of let's see, what did I just say? we're at the high end of calories, yes, and we're at the low end of calorie density. So here, let me do this. If you could pull up that slide.
Yeah, you got it.
Slide. Yep. And I want to say here, because I'm gonna have to say this a couple times because we are so programmed, Corey, into thinking, again, that we need to eat less and exercise more in order to lose weight. And I want to change the paradigm for you all today. So I want to shift our mindset from...
Oh, we lost you, Rip. We lost your sound. All right, everybody. So Rip's going to reconnect. And as soon as he gets back, we will make sure that we keep on going. So again, we're talking about calorie density. And Rip's going to come right back in. Rip, let me try to unmute you here. Yeah, it just said the same thing as before, Rip, with the mic being unconnected. So why don't you try popping out, coming back in, see what happens? Yeah. Give it a shot. All right, everybody, hang with us. Just a couple technical difficulties. We're just trying to get Rip. He's going to pop back out. He'll pop back in. This happened before the show. No big deal. He'll be right back in. That external mic that he has is, finicky. So we got it. We are going to slide 2 here, and we're going to be talking about calorie density. So hang tight. I can't thank you all enough for being here. And a lot of people tuning in, Terry. And Terry, you are correct. It was the Engine 2 Diet. That was the book that he mentioned at the very beginning. So good to go there.
How about now?
And, we got you. We got you back.
Right. Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
No worries.
So, so what I was in the middle of saying, Corey, and I apologize about that, guys. I don't know what's going on. So we want to shift our mindset from how much we eat to what we eat, which is going to make how much we eat essentially irrelevant. So I want to say that one more time because I really want you to get that. We're going to shift our whole mindset from how much we eat to what we eat, which will make how much we eat essentially irrelevant.
Right.
So I want to teach you guys today what we said here, how to eat piles of food while taking in fewer calories. That's going to allow you to lose weight and find your ideal weight. So more calories, I'm just going to hammer this in. More calories don't equal more fullness. And that's something that I want you to know. More calories don't equal more fullness. Like the perfect example here, go very, very to the bottom of this list here. You see oil, right? Oil is the most calorie dense food on the planet. But if we were to take 2 tablespoons, and each tablespoon of oil is 120 calories. So 240 calories, if we were to just take 2 tablespoons and down them, how satiated would you feel, Corey? It wouldn't make a dent.
Not at all.
It wouldn't make a dent. However, if we were to eat 1 pound of grapes, fresh, wonderful grapes, you would feel that in a big major way, because those grapes have, and these are the two magic ingredients that make whole food, plant-based eating absolutely magical when it comes to losing weight and feeling full and consuming less calories. Water and fiber. So Corey, I have to pick on you since I can't pick on anyone else. So you're my punching bag for the second week in a row.
It's all good.
So how many calories are in a pound of water?
Should be 0, right?
0. Exactly right. And how many calories are in fiber?
I don't think that is even a thing. That's a trick question, correct?
There's no calories in fiber either, right? So basically, but what water and fiber do is they combine together to basically create bulk, to create mass in our stomachs. And now what happens is all those stress receptors, all those density receptors, and all those nutrient receptors, they go off like a pinball machine going, oh yeah, I am, extremely happy. And so we get to eat more and at the same time lose weight because we're taking in less calories. So let's just go through this list here really quickly. So you can see your average vegetable is sitting right about 100 calories per pound. So like have a whole head of kale as a side dish with a little balsamic glaze on there. Fruit. Like our average fruit is 250 calories a pound. This is why I love snacking on fruit. I usually have, 6 to 7 pieces of fruit a day easily. And each piece of fruit is probably between a quarter to half a pound. So, I'm only getting about 350 to 500 calories with 6 or 7 pieces of fruit. Potatoes, your average potato, whether it's sweet, whether it's Yukon Gold, you name it, 350 calories a pound. I just can't even reiterate to you guys, emphasize enough how minuscule amount of calories that is. Whole intact grains. So these are grains that have been cooked in water. We're talking about brown rice, millet, barley, farro, things of this nature are about 500 calories a pound. And then we have beans, lentils, legumes in general. These are 600 calories a pound. And again, we cook these in water, and that water gets in there and it actually helps create a higher calorie. It creates a lighter calorie density in those products because again, water has 0 calories, but it also puffs it up. Now you can see here, animal products, beef, chicken, fish, on average, 1,200 calories a pound. Cheese, ice cream, refined carbohydrates, white flour, breads, bagels, 1,500 calories a pound. Junk food like chips, cookies, pretzels, 2,300. Nuts, nut butters, seeds, stuff like that, almost approaching 3,000 calories a pound. And then all oils are 4,000 calories a pound. So Corey, if we were to put a line between legumes and animal products, again, the vast majority of Americans are consuming 94% of their caloric consumption from products that are animal products down to all oils. And in there too is our French fried potatoes and stuff like that.
You're looking at 10 times the calories per pound. I mean, on some of those things.
And again, this is why 75% of this country is now overweight and or obese, because we are eating below the line, below legumes here. And again, we are hardwired as human beings to consume 3 to 5 pounds at a minimum. And, even if we're doing it right and we're doing 3 pounds, the lowest amount, we're still consuming, as we did our experiment, 4,500 calories. So can you go to the next slide?
Yeah, let's do it.
So this here is, and this goes back to that Terry Shintahi from Hawaii, the Hawaii diet. But the number on the left, we have the number of pounds of food needed to reach 2,500 calories on the left axis. And then on the right, on the bottom, we have the food, right? And how many pounds gets you to 2,500 calories. You can see oil, it's 0.6 of a pound. Butter, 0.8. How many of us put half a slab of butter on our potatoes? right?
Ooh,
So
yeah.
I want people to know it's not the potato that is basically calorie dense and calorie rich. It's the butter you're putting on the potato and the sour cream and the bacon bits and all that stuff. Bacon, basically, 9/10 of a pound of bacon and you're at 2,500 calories. Peanut butter, Corey, you like peanut butter?
It's okay. I like it. Yeah.
I'm a fan of peanut butter, but you know what? Peanut butter is very calorie dense. It's almost, look at that. Almost 1 pound and you're at 2,500 calories. Yeah. Beef, 1.2. Donuts, 1.3 pounds and you're there. Sugar, 1.5. You can see a ham sandwich, French fries. Now look at all of a sudden how we have this steep curve up, right? Corn, you can eat 6.5 pounds of corn, you're at 2,500 calories. Corn obviously is a little bit more starchy, but you know what? That's absolutely fine. Whenever we have corn in the cob at our house, Corey, I always have 2 or 3 ears of corn. All right.
It's corn.
It's corn. That's a beautiful thing, right? And then potatoes. Look at that. Almost 10 pounds of potatoes gives you 2,500 calories. And this is why when I have potatoes, I typically have 2 to 3 big old honking sweet potatoes. All right. And, it's filling me up. It's satiating me. And the calorie density is very low. And then you can see on and on and on, right? And so what I want to do next is actually visually show you what we're talking about, because they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. All right. Wow. Go to the next slide, please. So I went to Whole Foods and I spent half a day there with the scale to find out, okay, how much watermelon is 21 pounds? Because 21 pounds is equal to 2,500 calories. Now, I'm not saying that anybody needs to eat all that watermelon, but what I am saying is if you want to indulge in half of a watermelon for dessert, go for it. Do it, right? Let me tell you a story. You've probably heard this, Corey. When I wrote my first book, The Engine 2 Diet, I had 62 guinea pigs that were doing this. And I made each and every one of them keep a food diary so they didn't blow it. And I could also basically give them course corrections. And so every night they would send me what they had for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I would send them feedback. And this one firefighter who started at 303 pounds, by the end, he lost 33 pounds in 28 days. His name was Tim. I went through the academy with him in 1997. And, he had a beautiful looking dinner. And then for dessert, he put watermelon. And then in parentheses after it, he put the whole thing.
No.
Right? The whole thing. And so I wrote back, I said, was it a little personal sized, watermelon? And he said, no. But obviously, right, if he was to eat one whole watermelon like we're seeing here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, 8 watermelons is 2,500 calories. Divide that by 8, 2,500. So we're sitting at about, 400 calories. So he ate a whole watermelon and he's at 400 calories. That's fantastic, right?
Beautiful.
Yeah. So just to show you there, let's go to the next slide, please. So walnuts, cashews, and almonds. So you can see that's basically 9/10 of a pound. All right. And this is why we're not against nuts entirely, but this is why if you have nuts in your car and at work and at home, and you go to Costco and you stock up on pistachios and almonds and cashews and walnuts, all of a sudden, right, before you know it, in each small handful of nuts is 180 calories. You have unwittingly taken in several between 400 to 700 calories in nuts. And nuts are 90% fat, Corey, and everybody, right? They're the sneaky fats. Thank you. Yes, Rochelle. Exactly. So our nut of choice is the walnut because it's so anti-inflammatory. But to everybody that's out there, between whether it's Joel Furman, whether it's Michael Greger, whether it's, I'm not going to say my father because he, with his heart patients, doesn't want them eating any nuts, but 1 ounce. We want to eat about 1 ounce of nuts a day. And so think of nuts as a condiment. Either put them on your salad, put some on your cereal, whiz some up and use them as a nut dressing on your greens or in a salad dressing, something like that. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Beautiful. Yeah,
Good.
a lot of people like that idea. They're talking about how great it is. So it's like sour cream is what they said.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Exactly right. But again, if anybody that's out there, you're trying to lose weight, you're not going to do it stuffing your face with nuts. Limit yourself to 1, maybe 2 ounces a day. But if you're trying to lose weight, I would limit it to 1 ounce. And again, that's one small handful, Corey. One small handful. All right, let's go to the next slide. Let's go next.
I have a quick question. Is this okay? Because it's nut related. Pam says, would almond milk count towards the amount of nut allowance per day?
Well, that's a really great question. And the answer is almond milk has such a low amount of almonds in it, like 2% of the calories are coming from almonds. So for example, if you were to get an unsweetened almond milk, that's 35 calories per 8 ounces. That is a completely different story than a handful of almonds where you're sitting at close to 200 calories. So I am fine with unsweetened almond milk. Absolutely.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you for answering that. And guys, if you do have questions, I'm starring them and I'm saving them. So we're going to go back at the end and we're going to answer your questions in a lightning round. So no worries about that. Okay. I see questions about sunflower seeds, things like that. We got you. All right. Next slide.
Yep. So cauliflower, I love cauliflower. It's actually considered a cruciferous green leafy vegetable. So it's great as far as getting our nitric oxide production going. And just, I would tell you, find ways to get cauliflower into your life, whether you're making cauliflower steaks. I love cauliflower steaks. I find cauliflower is kind of like tofu in that it's like a blank slate and you can season it and make it taste incredible. We love making cauliflower soups, cauliflower steaks. I will steam cauliflower and then put balsamic vinegar on top. I will take actually a little bit of walnuts, a little bit of low sodium soy sauce and water, and make an amazing walnut dressing to drizzle on top of cauliflower. So cauliflower rocks. Again, look at that. 20 pounds of cauliflower, that's 2,500 calories. So, and I'll tell you more here in a sec. But so that's cauliflower. Let's go next.
Next slide. Boom.
Yeah, butter. So again, butter is not back. Okay, butter it's close to. It's not quite as calorie dense as oil, but it's almost there. It's 100. It's about 3,500 calories a pound instead of 4,000. It's basically 100% fat. And again, if you're putting butter on your food, on your broccoli, on your cauliflower, on your baked potatoes, all of a sudden you're pushing up the calorie density, 2-3x just by putting that butter on it. So not a fan of butter, not a fan, Corey, of any of the vegan butter substitutes, whether it's the shed spread, whether it's the earth balance spread. These guys, the first and second ingredients are typically canola oil and palm oil. And so this, again, it's 100 calories a tablespoon. So the calorie density is just through the roof.
Guys, I keep seeing your questions. These are such beautiful questions. We're going to get back to you, I promise. If you have questions, just let us know. People asking about riced cauliflower. Asking about cabbage. Yeah.
Yes. You know what? I'm just looking at these now just for the first time, but yeah, again, cauliflower cheese sauce, rice cauliflower, oh my God. Yes. You guys got it. You guys totally golden. All right. Next slide. Yeah. And then while I'm taking this, I do Terry Williams. Thank you for your question about avocados. So avocados are sitting at about 800 to 1,000 calories per pound. And so they're green gold, right? Most people love avocados. They are so wonderful. Just like, oh, what a flavor, the fat in there, but they're 80% fat. The calorie density is higher than we want. So we think of avocado as condiments. So if you want to use, a quarter to a half of an avocado on your salad dressing, or as part of your salad dressing, or cut it up and put it on your salad, on your open-faced sandwiches, that's absolutely fine. But I don't want you just spooning, 1 or 2 avocados. It's too many calories. Yeah.
No spooning allowed.
Yeah. No spooning of the avocado. So potatoes, to me, if you like potatoes, you're You should be fired up about this lifestyle. I mean, we talked, I think it was last week, Corey, or the week before, about the Okinawans, the longest living centenarians on the planet. And 77% of their diet comes from the Okinawan sweet potato. Sweet potatoes are very low in calories, about 350 calories per pound. I've done different videos where I talk about how, the potato, it was termed the vegetable of the year by the World Health Organization in 2008. It's got as much vitamin C as an orange, as much potassium as a banana, as much fiber as a bowl of oatmeal. It fills us up. It's about 10% of its calories coming from protein. We literally, Corey, I think you maybe asked me this. If I had to live on one food, if I was caught in a Florida hurricane and I had to have one food for a year, I would just have potatoes.
Interesting.
Right? All the vitamins, all the minerals, all the protein, all the everything we need. We're good. We're golden.
Look at this one. I used to be afraid of potatoes, especially the creamier, lighter ones. So happy I'm getting all of this info. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no, you know what? So much of it is it's just all the myths that are swirling out there. And, I don't know if you guys have ever been to Peru. I went to Peru when I hiked the Inca Trail for my honeymoon, and they've got 220 different types of potatoes in Peru, right? I mean, those Peruvians know what they're doing, and they know how to grow a mean potato. You mean purple potatoes, brown, orange, white. It's incredible. So don't be scared of any potato. To me, there's no such thing as a naughty, bad potato. They're all good. All right. Cheddar cheese. I mean, I've talked about this extensively, but cheese is the number one source of saturated fat in the American diet. We now have, as Americans, we are putting cheese on and over and through and under everything that we eat. It is crazy. You go to a pizza drive-in or drive-through like Domino's or something, and they'll ask you, you want extra cheese on that pizza, and you want cheese sticks with that pizza, and do you want to dip your cheese sticks in a cheese sauce? I mean, it's crazy. And cheese is very calorie dense. Just to put it into perspective, 1 8-ounce glass of milk, Corey and team, is 150 calories. 1 8-ounce glass. You take that cheddar cheese we're looking at right there, and you melt that into an 8-ounce glass, and now you're staring at 960 calories. So it's almost 6x the number of calories as milk. So it's just a concentrated source of calories, of sodium, of fat, of casein. It is what I like to call it's a very, very weak food. And so many of us are addicted to cheese that it's scary. And if I was to ask 100 people on the street, what food could you not live without? 95 out of 100 would say cheese. Can't live without my cheese.
Really?
The other 5 would say chocolate.
Okay.
All right. Next slide, please.
Next slide.
So tomatoes. I mean, look at these tomatoes, right? I mean, heirloom tomatoes, they're gorgeous. You'd have to eat 27 pounds. So have some open face sandwiches. Make some chilies with some tomatoes in there. Make a tomato soup. I mean, go nuts with tomatoes. They rock. And we got people like Tom Brady out there that is kind of bashing nightshades like eggplant and tomatoes. But I would tell you this: if most of you should not have any problem consuming the so-called nightshades. Because there's just a small segment of the population where nightshades actually are inflammatory to them. But otherwise, these are incredibly, look at that color. Look at the lycopene shining out from those tomatoes.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
People are getting it. They're getting it's corn reference. They're all getting it. All right.
Yeah, good. Next slide. Strawberries. We've got about 3 1-pound cartons sitting in our fridge right now, and we will go through that in about a day and a half.
Wow.
And I can tell you that I will personally go through one of these just for dessert. And the reason why I say that is, look at that, 15 pounds is 2,500 calories. So basically 1 carton, 1 pound is like right around 125 calories, 150 calories. So knock yourself out with strawberries, with fruit. Again, the calorie density of fruit is sitting right around 250.
Wow.
All right.
Next. There we go.
So the new kid on the block is coconut oil, right? Look at that. 0.6 of a pound is 2,500 calories. No, all oils are the same, Corey and team, whether it's olive, canola, safflower, sunflower, flaxseed, walnut, coconut. They're 4,000 calories a pound, 120 calories a tablespoon of basically pure, unadulterated fat. And the last thing that Corey, that you need, that I need, and that anybody on this Facebook Live needs is more fat in their diet. That's so true. Don't be like some of my old firefighter buddies that are doing this, bulletproof thing where they're doing shots of coconut oil before they eat. That's going to be 360 calories that are 100% fat over the course of that day. And it's just contributing. And coconut oil, Corey and team, it's got more saturated fat than any food on the planet. It's 92% saturated fat that's going to go straight to your arteries. Our buddies at Mastering Diabetes, Corey and Cyrus, it's going to cause insulin resistance. This is going to make it harder for that sugar to go into our cells. So let's do everything we can to not only stay away from coconut oil, but really we're not a fan of any coconut products, whether it's coconut yogurts, whether it's coconut bacon, whether it's coconut milk. It's just way too high in saturated fat. And I know that this is not a Facebook Live about fats, but none of us on this call need saturated fat in our bodies, in our lives. All we need are the essential polyunsaturated that we're going to get from our whole plant-based foods that are calorie light and nutrient dense.
Hey, Regina, I want to give you some love on YouTube. I see you watching. You asked us about potatoes. We got you. We're gonna cover that in just a second. Okay, we're gonna get through just a couple more slides, and then we're gonna do a lightning round of questions. All right,
Yep.
So here we go.
Yep. And then broccoli, 17 pounds. We adore broccoli. The way that we eat broccoli, I want you to know, Corey, we buy so much frozen broccoli, and then I blacken it on the stovetop. And what I'll do is I put it into a cast iron pan, the frozen broccoli, turn it up to about little between medium and high, so medium high, and then I will just kind of let it go for a while, and then I will start putting on onion powder, garlic powder, pepper, a little bit of chili powder, and then I put in a drizzle of any one of the PLANTSTRONG broths. So whether it's the mushroom broth, the corn broth, the sofrito broth, or the veggie broth. And I let it get really like dark and blackened. And oh my God, it rocks.
We gotta see that. We gotta see this on live.
We'll do that. We'll do that. And then the other way, and this is like a no-brainer if you guys are having problems cooking broccoli correctly, put it into a steamer pot. Fill that steamer pot up with broccoli, put in a little bit of water in the bottom, put it on high, put your stovetop on high, put the timer on for 10 minutes. Again, it has to be covered. And at 10 minutes, it comes out perfect every single time. And I immediately pour it out on a plate. I will add just a smidgen of salt and pepper, and then the kids devour it before it has time to hit the dinner table.
Wow, incredible.
Yep. All right, let's keep going. So this is where we're going to try and put it all together. So let's start on the left. On the left, we've got a big bowl of oatmeal. Oatmeal, right, with those steel cut oats or those old-fashioned oats, 350 calories a pound. We got some fruit on top. So the average calorie density of that big old bowl of cereal is probably sitting around 300 calories. And again, you can see the drop of water, and that's because how do we cook the oats, Corey?
Yeah, we cook them in water.
Water, right? So the water plumps them up, and it also reduces the calorie density. On the right of that, we've got some, it looks like maybe Special K or, cornflakes or something like that. I want you to know that's some dry cereal. And those dry cereals are typically sitting at 1,200 to 1,500 calories per pound. So if your goal is to lose between 20 to 200 pounds, I want you eating the breakfast on the left, not the breakfast on the right. All right. Now, next, let's go to the rice. That big, wonderful bowl of rice is about 600 calories a pound. This is why we love rice and beans. We love rice. You know, I put soups on top of rice. We love rice. However, if you turn that rice and you turn it into rice chips, the calorie density goes from 600 calories a pound. Guess what the rice chips are? 2,400 calories a pound.
No way.
Because
and you think you're eating something healthy. Like you think, oh, gee, it's rice chips, right?
Exactly. And guess what the second and third ingredients are? They're oil. You got canola oil and safflower oil, right? And again, oil, 4,000 calories a pound. So I think everybody's getting that. And again, how do you make the rice, Corey?
In water.
There, see the drip of water on top? Yeah. There you go. Now let's go to the kale. See the kale? We love kale. We cook kale just about 3 or 4 times a week, big old batches of it. I slice it up really finely, and the kids absolutely adore it. We drizzle it with some balsamic vinegar. That's about 60 calories a pound. Wow. 60. However, you take those kale chips, you turn them into kale chips, where you're adding the safflower oil or the canola oil. Now we're sitting at 2,000 calories a pound.
Wow.
Almost a 7-fold difference. Okay, this is a huge one for everybody out there. So you see the grapes? Those grapes are about 250 calories a pound. We take the grapes, Corey. We dry them out. What do we remove when we dry them out?
Probably all the water.
All the water. And now we have grapes. Believe it or not, the grapes on the left are 250. On the raisins on the right are 2,000.
No way.
2,000. So this is why, would you rather eat 2 cups of grapes or 1/4 cup of raisins?
Yeah, definitely the grapes.
Which do you think is going to fill you up more and kind of satiate you better? Obviously, the grapes.
Yeah, those grapes.
Same thing below here, gang. You can see it. We got the sweet potatoes that are sitting about 350 calories a pound. Or we turn those into French fries by putting them down into the deep fryer, which is filled with what, Corey?
Oil, nasty oil.
And oil's 4,000 calories a pound. All of a sudden, that gets into the structure and the cells of the potato. And now those French fries are 2,500 calories per pound. So 350 versus 2,500. And then lastly here, I want you guys to know we are a fan of pasta because pasta is actually about 550 calories a pound. This is huge. So, and how do we make that pasta, Corey? What do we do to it?
We put it in water.
Put it in water. And what does that water do? It reduces the calorie density. So the big difference between pasta and bread, really the exact same ingredients, but that bread is dry. It doesn't have the water in it. So this is why we're a big fan. If you're going to do bread, do open face sandwiches and always make sure it's 100% whole grain. And the other thing with is if you're trying to lose 50 to 200 pounds, don't do bread. Instead, I want you doing collard wraps, romaine lettuce wraps, but let's avoid the bread until we're at a weight where it makes sense. And now let's do open face sandwiches, which is frankly what I do. Do open face sandwiches, open face burgers. We did burgers the other night. I had 2 burgers and both of them were open faced, right?
Wow.
Wonderful way to do it. I think that might be our last slide. Am I correct?
Yep, that's it. We have a couple questions, guys. We've got about 10 to 12 minutes left here. We're going to fly through some of these. I thank you guys so much. So many amazing questions. I think I've got all of them here, and I'm going to go one by one. I'm going to put them up on the screen. Okay, this is a oat milk question. What's the best brand of oat milk? Now, Rip, I think that you did this last time. You showed a Pacific brand, correct?
We did. Yep. Okay. So there's a lot of different oat milks that are out there. I will tell you this. I tried one yesterday because we're thinking about coming out with some plant-based, plant-strong milks. There's one by Elmhurst. I don't know if you ever heard of Elmhurst.
Yeah.
And they make an oat milk, and there's just 2 ingredients in it.
Yeah.
Oats and water, and it really is creamy and wonderful. So they're super premium. They're super expensive. I think it's like $7 or $8 for 32 ounces. Wow. So you got to take that into consideration too. But yes, I used that or Pacific or my go-to is Pacific right now. Yeah.
Cool. Let's see. What do you put on your potato? Yeah, what do you load your potato with?
So, Pam, and I don't say this just to sell it. My favorite thing to put on a potato or rice, for that matter, or barley or farro, is one of our Plant Strong chilies or stews. So I love the Firehouse chili. I also love the white creamy chili, and then the chickpea carrot stew goes wonderfully well on potatoes as well. If I didn't have those around, I would do like half a can of beans and some salsa.
Yeah, me too. I do black beans. I'll do gosh, I don't know what else. Green onions are really good.
Yeah, yep.
Things like that to make the flavor just pop. So those are awesome. What was the name of the author for?
Dr. Terry Shintahi. Terry Shintahi, and he wrote that book in, I think it was 1999.
Okay.
So I mean, this was a ways back, okay. And it's a really good book.
Nice. Justina wants to know about sunflower seeds. Do you have any thoughts or feelings about those?
You know what? I don't eat them. I don't know much about them other than that, my kids, when they make sunflower seed butter, or when they make sunflower seed butter sandwiches because of all the allergies at school, right, because they can't do almond and they can't do peanut butter.
Yep.
They do a sunflower seed butter, but sunflower seeds, again, they're calorie dense. Yeah. So I would just, if you're going to do them, I would be very careful.
Okay. This is a diabetes question. So Marilyn, we're not like diabetes specialists here, but you asked if eating half a watermelon is okay in one setting.
Yeah. Well, I would tell you this, that I do know from my friends, Dr. Neil Barnard, who wrote a book called Dr. Neil Barnard's Prescription for Reversing Diabetes, and also from Cyrus and Robbie with Mastering Diabetes, that watermelon does have a higher glycemic index, and I don't know, again, if you're pre-diabetic, I mean, I think it's up to you. What I would do is test it out and see how you do with it. But my understanding from Cyrus and Robbie, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, Corey, is that I don't know if any fruits are off the table with these guys. I mean, I think they love every fruit that's out there.
Yeah. I mean, guys, I would tell you that from working very closely with Cyrus and Robbie on some Facebook Lives with them, I think that the truth is it has nothing to do with the fruit itself. It has everything to do with what you ate prior to the fruit. And if that was a high fat item, then it's going to spike your blood sugar and make your insulin go crazy. So what we would do is I would say go check out Mastering Diabetes and get that book for sure. It's a great book. It'll teach you about that method and a little bit more about that, because it's not about the fruit, it's about the fat. And so a low fat, whole food, plant-based diet is what they preach. And that's what I would say to that.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. It's difficult to keep fat low and still get the RDA for vitamin E. How do you do it? Vitamin E is the highest in almonds and sunflower seeds, which are higher in fat.
Mm-hmm. Well, Charlotte, you know what? I'm going to be really honest with you here. I don't know. I don't know what the RDA is for vitamin E. This is something I've never, ever been asked before. I've never even thought about it. As far as I'm concerned, when you're eating a whole food plant-based diet, and it's a nice variety too, as we talked about last week, you're trying to follow the advice of the American Gut Project and get 30 different types of whole plant-based foods into your system every week, then the only thing that I've heard of that you can be like deficient in when you're really, really eating this way well is vitamin B12. And that's something that is just not available in our food because it comes from microorganisms in the soil. So I will just have to say that I don't have a great answer for you on that one.
All good. I appreciate the honesty. I just started making my own almond milk, Pam says, and that's what she did. So that's kind of cool. She's just giving some love, some thoughts.
Oh, yeah. No, that's great. I like that. Yep. Sweet.
Good one, Rip. R&R. R&R. We all need some R&R. Is cauliflower okay to buy non-organic?
Mm-hmm. You know what? I would tell you that's up to you. I mean, there's a Dirty Dozen list that's out there that I think Dr. Greger has pushed out there. And I think the foods that you are eating the most of in your household, maybe there's something to trying to purchase those organic. I can tell you that my green leafies, I like those to be organic, but typically fruit that has a thicker skin on it, I'm not so concerned about it. And if any of you don't know, about 12 years ago, I spent a decade working at Whole Foods and for 10 years. And while I was there, I started, buying food there. I started buying more organic foods there. But before that, I never bought any organic. I would just buy the cheapest, best looking produce out there. And now that I've got a family and all that, I'm a little more concerned about it, but don't let, if something's organic or non-organic, get in the way of you buying it. So
beautiful. Sun butter. I'm guessing that's
okay. That's the sunflower seed butter.
Oh,
yeah, I think so. Well, just butter. Know that butter is butter. I mean, that's about 3,000 calories a pound. So I'm not saying that it is bad, but think of it as a condiment. Yeah.
We could do a whole show on this next one. Avocado, good fat and bad fat.
Yeah. So, I mean, avocado's definitely got some good fats. I mean, but it's also 15% saturated fat. It's got, a fair amount of monosaturated fat. And I think the remainder is polyunsaturated fatty acids. So I will just say that, the thing with avocados is they're 80% fat. As we talked about, their calorie densities, I think, sitting in right at about 800 to 1,000. So it's higher than we want. So here's the thing. If you're like sitting down to Monday Night Football and you got a bag of chips and you got a big old tub of guacamole, you're going to go through that. So, know thyself and what will happen if you put a big old tub of guacamole in front of yourself.
Okay. Let's see. We've got, okay, this is a big one. Regina really wanted this answered. Okay. What about potatoes and grains causing inflammation? This is a mindset from a different, I'm guessing, diet fad that's come out. Yes.
Yeah. Well, so, the grains causing inflammation, there's a small segment of the population that, have celiac, and they have to be careful with the grains. But I don't really pay much attention to this unless you're one of the, very, very small percent of this country that has some sort of a gastrointestinal issue with grains. And that's probably, again, not very many that are on this call today. So whole intact grains, 100% whole grain breads, 100% whole grain pastas are absolutely fantastic. Great sources of protein, great sources of fiber, great sources of vitamins and minerals. You do not want to avoid them because you're afraid of them being inflammatory, unless you know that they actually tear you up. And like for people that actually have a true gluten intolerance, so basically there's 4 grains that can mess you up. You got barley, rye, contaminated oats, and then you have wheat. So stay away from those. But there's so many incredible grains that are out there now that are gluten-free that will just like light you on fire in a good way. And then potatoes, I think that goes back to the nightshade thing with tomatoes and potatoes and eggplant. And I'll tell you again, Corey, the proof is in the pudding. Look at this. Look at the research done by Dan Buettner in the Blue Zones, and look at the Okinawans, some of the longest living people on the planet that have really an absence of heart disease, obesity, diabetes, and their main caloric consumption is coming from sweet potatoes. So I don't buy it again, unless for some reason you personally, potatoes tear you up, then listen to your body. But otherwise, we love whole grains and we love potatoes.
Yep. All right, Rip, I'm going to give you 5-second answers on these. Can you do these in 5 seconds? Little quick answers?
All right, bring it.
You think? Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any concern for calorie density when it comes to making a fruit and veggie-based smoothie?
So we're not huge fans of smoothies because you can get that calorie density up in a hurry. I prefer you eat whatever you're going to put in that blender, eat it, because you're going to work for it. And all digestion starts in the mouth when you chew. We need to do a whole one of these on chewing your calories, not drinking your calories.
Beautiful. What about dates? I really like those.
Yep. I love dates too. I take them on bike rides. I have 1 or 2 or 3 as snacks. But again, they're a dried fruit. Their calorie density is going to be more up around the 1,500 range as opposed to the 250 range because they really have, they're dried and their water's been removed for the most part.
Okay. When we were talking about coconut oil, someone asked about coconut flakes. Is there a difference between coconut flakes and coconut oil?
Well, yeah. I mean, the coconut flakes aren't going to be nearly contain as many calories, but we're talking the coconut. So, Patty, I get it. I mean, coconut's got a really nice flavor, right? And it's fatty and it's, yeah. But I would tell you, it depends upon where you are on your health journey. If you're not overweight, if you don't have heart disease, if you're not pre-diabetic, then have some coconut flakes on your cereal. But if you have any of those, you're trying to lose weight, you got heart disease, you got something going on, then I would remove them.
Okay. Marley asked if blackening your broccoli produces carcinogens.
Yeah. So that's a great question. To my understanding, it doesn't. Like, for example, I know when we make toast, we produce, I'm spacing on the word right now, Corey, okay. and it'll come to me in a second. But we do want to be careful about how much we burn our food. So, for example, when you burn meat, we know you produce HCAs, heterocyclic amines, that are basically, cancer-causing substances in a big way. But so I know what it is. When you cook and you toast bread, you produce acrylamides, and you want to be careful with burned toast and bread and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it, everybody. We've got a lot of great questions, a lot of great people tuning in. We can't thank you enough for being here. And we're here every Friday at 2:00 Eastern, 1:00 Central, and we are here for you. So make sure you come in and tune in. We always love your questions. And if we didn't get to your question and you happen to leave a comment, we do respond to every comment. So whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, let us know. And if you've made it this far, gosh darn it, you deserve a little something. So I want to tell you, use the code STRONG10 over at PLANTSTRONGFoods.com, and you can have the cleanest food line on the planet sent right to you. We're going to give you 10% off your first order. So how to tell you that, Rip, thanks again for being here. This is a lot of fun. I have a blast doing this.
Corey, thanks for being my co-host, man. This is a lot of fun. And again, thank you everybody for joining us today. I wish everybody that's in Florida or North Carolina or anywhere where the hurricane is kind of blowing, I wish you all the best. I hope you're safe and you've figured it out. Corey, I'm glad to see you today and that you're not underwater.
Yeah.
But everybody have a great weekend and keep it plant strong.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.